Hello, this is Francesca Vigliani from Cloud Academy, and I'd like to welcome you all to a new deep dive session with our Cloud Academy experts. Today, we'll explore how you can measure skill profiles and analytics on our platform. I'm very excited to be here with two special guests from our company, Mark Smith, Solutions Engineer, and Albert Chien, Product Marketing Manager.
Hi, Francesca. It's great to be here. Appreciate everyone joining and look forward to sharing with you today.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here as well.
Hi, guys. Thank you all for joining us. Before we get started, just a couple of reminders. The webinar is being recorded, so we will send it to you once the recording is available. Feel free to type any questions in the chat box during the live sessions. We'll try to answer them throughout the webinar and at the end. So we can get started. In our experience, generic cloud training is not effective enough, as it doesn't provide real-life scenarios, nor does it allow you to really test your employees' skills on possible challenges that they might encounter in their day-to-day roles. In order to succeed, companies need to assemble training that answers to specific job role requirements. So we're going to start with the proven assumption that to be successful, training has to be designed in coherence with the context of your company's tech stack, internal policies, and individual roles.
So we realize this particular webinar is geared towards analytics skill profiles, but it's important to realize how you get to a point where you're measuring that. So in what we're experiencing with our customers now, they recognize the benefits of this customized training. When I'm talking about actual customized training, I'm talking about the training that you make that's more applicable and mirror your stack, as Francesca was alluding to. So Content Engine is a great way to do that. We're seeing organizations use that to really make it mirror the way that they're doing things within their actual departments. We're having people that are drafting new hire training plans, documenting their internal policies, and having that all implemented through Content Engine. And you go about ascertaining and putting together skill profiles by the quizzes and exams that you feed into that. So these are all being assigned out with our training plans product, and you're being able to measure and see how people are progressing along the way as well.
Exactly. Moreover, once the specific training program is launched, it is crucial to be able to assess your company's situations in terms of skills, which ones you have and at what level, but most importantly, which ones you're missing. That way, you'll know who to involve when you're launching a specific cloud project, but at the same time, you'll also know if you have any skills gap within your company that you should address.
That's correct. And being able to ascertain and really measure skill acquisition and retention from any training that you do is a very critical, it's a vital component to creating a more diverse and robust training plan as you move forward.
Indeed. And measuring skills has been a very recurring topic in conversations with our clients. Mark will be able to confirm this later on during this webinar. And analyzing the skills of your employees allows you to have a clear idea where your company stands, in the good, but also in the bad. You can uncover skills gaps and act before it is too late. And this is something extremely important. Often we hear of companies who spend money on recruiting new employees instead of growing the skills of already existing ones. So we're here today to talk about what you can do to put a solution to this.
Right, so I've been working in the training industry now for a little over 6 years. Prior to coming here, I was involved in the instructor-led training side of things. And one thing that comes out of any training, you can measure and verify that people are completing it, how long they've been actually working on that. But what's more important and what organizations are really needing at this point as the cloud curve is continuing to change, the skills are getting harder to ascertain. So you need to verify that people are capable of doing the work prior to turning them loose into your production environment. So skill profiles are really a way for you to go and measure and put an actual tangible results on how well they're comprehending the training that they're actually taking. And really that's something that's missing, not just in digital training, that's something that's missing in the training field overall. So I'm extremely excited that we've invested the time to actually put something together like this for our customers, and it is being very well received. And looking forward to showing you more of this live and talking about it a little bit more as well.
Yeah, so the solution, the first one that we'll talk about today is skill profiles. This is Albert here. And skill profiles allow you to assess intelligently at scale while measuring different competencies across software platforms, technologies, etc. And it shares the results of your team's training, indicating whether they're ready for real-world situations or certification exams. So they measure and are derived from completed quizzes and exams from Cloud Academy's learning paths. Additionally, skill profiles are also calculated based on content that in your exams and quizzes from our content engine product, which you may or may not have heard before, where you can create exams and quizzes specifically for your technology stack and customize success parameters. And as you'll notice later in Mark's demo, skill profile scores are calculated out of 1,000 points.
Yeah, and really skill profiles, we've got guidance documents that go along with this as well. It's really, it's an easy, very easy, and it's very convenient for you to be able to implement and use it to quickly identify, your areas of strength across your entire organization, to be able to dive deep within teams and even at the individual level, just to assess where people are at, where their strengths are, and not just the strengths, but your areas for opportunity. Albert makes a great point that the quizzes and exams are currently feeding into that the skill profile. We have some exciting things that are coming out over the next month or so, where we'll actually implement lab assessments to put in a third component to feed into that skill profile. We're actually going to be able to assign out labs without the guidance. For those of you that have been on the platform, we have hands-on labs. It's very specific and unique to how we function on the platform, but you have the guided steps and screenshots along the way. With lab assessments, you'll be able to assign it out and actually take away those screenshots and really be able to verify how well your staff is able to complete that objective. Again, with the goal of getting them well-trained, well-versed prior to going in and working into a production environment. We know we're talking about skill profiles. That's an important part, but we know the value of measuring consumption on a digital platform. So we are solving for that as well. We have a very robust tool with our analytics. So Albert, I'm going to turn that back over to you to talk about.
Yeah, so we have analytics and reports which measure effort on Cloud Academy as opposed to the results of your training, as Skill Profiles does. These are represented visually in the Cloud Academy administrator and manager accounts, and are also offered as downloadable reports from those accounts to allow you to discover detailed user engagement across all of Cloud Academy, including consumption of learning paths, completions of quizzes and exams, usage of the hands-on labs, and other aspects that really show how your users are and your teams are using Cloud Academy on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. And there are several use cases for these reports. I know use cases are important because you want to know what you're getting out of your learning and development strategy and your learning and development investment. And so number one, you can hold your teams accountable and you can make sure that they're actually doing the learning that you need. We know that in the era of digital transformation, it's an era of urgency where you want to be able to know that your employees are doing what they need to do in order to be able to allow you and your company to move forward in your innovation priorities. And so that's the first one. And the second piece is calculating learning return on investment. You want to know that the money that you've invested into investing in a learning and development platform is something that ultimately you want to be successful. And so you can see from this what your employees have been doing on Cloud Academy, and ultimately see that, okay, your investment is paying off because there is consumption, people are learning, and people are taking the courses that they need to fulfill the first use case of moving innovation priorities forward.
Good stuff, Albert. I completely agree, and measuring that effort is important. They're not going to get, they won't be able to achieve the skill profiles, the updated and skills initiatives, and you'll be able to verify that acquisition until they're putting forth the effort. So being able to show and demonstrate that they're putting forth the effort is very important, not just for that measurable return on investment that you're talking about, but for you to actually be able to see that your employees are taking it seriously and really invested in their time and on learning on the platform as well. So thanks for sharing that. I'm going to go ahead now and pop out to show you all this product actually live. So what you're looking at this point is our dashboard. Several of you, I know we have a lot of return customers on the phone here, which is great. You've seen this. So this is obviously a demo account. Whether you are a member or an actual administrator on the account, your dashboard is going to look the same. So you'll see your initial skill profile on the front page, as well as this little leaderboard kind of showing you where you're at in terms of your organization. For competitive people like myself and a lot of people here at Cloud Academy, we like to see ourselves on the leaderboard in a good position. So that's something that we have on there, just again to encourage additional usage and making sure people are focusing on improving their skill profiles along the way. I think it's important for you to know, I know there's managers and directors on the phone, I know there's end users, but I think it's important for you to take a look at what you can do from an end user perspective. So you can click on browse your skills here. I'm not going to cover this too in depth because there's a lot of this that would be that's going to be covered on the manager's view, but this is simply just an overall look at this individual's profile. You can see the learning path, certificates, past exams, quizzes, courses, and labs. This system defaults to the last 90 days. You can adjust that date. You can customize it if you want to. What you'll see is it's popping out the top skills along the way for this this user, and it's showing their skill profile and how it's gradually gone up over time. And they have the leaderboard down here again, so you can see where everyone is at and subsequently where they're placed in their organization. Now, if you want to go in and get more granular on a specific platform, what's great about this is that this is showing you where you're most proficient. You'll notice that it changes the leaderboard as well, because now we're just measuring AWS. It's showing where this person ranks, what their score is just on AWS and the top skills. But you'll also note this area up here. This is really cool. It's very neat that the engineers have been working on to be able to improve your score in certain areas. We are going to make some actual suggestions on skill assessments that you can go through. So these are quizzes that are in there that would subsequently populate and fill in for your skill profile. On these specific areas, if you don't know that, you don't know the information that's in there, you can certainly pop back out and browse the actual catalog to look for training on those specific areas, and that quiz will be embedded in the learning path. So from an end user perspective, you can click on any one of these here and start to improve on your skill here. All right, I'm going to pop back out to the dashboard, and I'm going to switch. This is an administrator account, so what I'm going to do is switch over now to the manager's view. And the first thing that we'll talk about here are analytics. So Albert talked about this in the last slide. We certainly recognize how important it is to be able to verify and see the level of consumption on a digital platform, to know that your students, that your employees are actually using the platform, being able to measure that usage. So we are able to help you check that box. But what we've done, and really this is what exists in most digital platforms that are out there now, being able to tell how much time has been spent by users. But what we've done is we've notched it up a bit, and that you can really get more granular and see exactly what is happening on the platform. So you'll notice here, I'm at my entire organization. I can filter down by teams or users if I wanted. And I've got this date filtered here. What I can do is actually come over here to courses, and I'll be able to see in descending order what courses are being taken in my organization and the amount of time that's been spent on each one of those. And it can go, obviously there's 13 different screens here. There's a lot of training that's being consumed. I could do the same thing for quizzes, exams, labs, and learning paths. So if I click on exams here, I'll be able to see, again, in that descending order by amount of time spent. This is all measuring effort. I'll see the average scores on these different exams, how well we're doing. I can see an overall look at the amount of time spent up at the top. And then I can see individuals and how well they're doing on this as well. If I pop back out to this front screen where I have the overall look, and I really wanted to look and see what some of my top people were doing when they're consuming on the platform, I could click their name. And this is going to adjust the view just to show me what, in this particular instance, what Darren Webb is doing on the platform. So I could click and see what courses, what exams, what labs, etc. Darren has been doing. Can do the same thing for any individual. It would adjust on that for you. So that's your consumption-based reporting. Again, we think that's important. It's an important component, again, a measurement of ROI for you to make sure people are using it. And as we've alluded to, as I spoke about before, what I've heard prior to coming to Cloud Academy and what we continue to hear is our customers are wanting to find a way that they can go out and be able to understand what level of retention their employees are coming out with after training, how proficient they are in being able to perform the labs and the associated tasks that go along with that prior to turning them over in a production environment. So Cloud Academy has solved for that with the skill profiles. And I want to show you how you can use this tool. And again, we have guidance documents that go along with this. We have solutions engineers like myself, as well as a customer success team that work with you to help you not just understand this product, but the different ones we have, like assessment, training plan, content engine. So it's a true partnership where we want to partner with you to help you get the most out of these tools so that you can continue to see an improvement and feel confident in your investment in Cloud Academy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this view here to look at this year. It's going to start with March, because for this particular demo account, that's when the quizzes and exams were starting to be consumed. So what you'll see, there's only the one filter here, and that's the date. And the entire organization is being measured. And what you see is that the average skill profile score over that period of time. What this indicates is really, it's a healthy organization that's been on the platform for a good bit of time. They started with some baseline skill assessments to generate this average score, and over time, consuming the content and subsequently going in and taking these quizzes and exams, they're building a very good level of skill retention along the way, and it's showing in their skill profile average scores. As an organization that adds users at certain points, so you may have 200 users and then add 50 2 months later, you would see a slight dip because those 50 are starting from scratch there, but eventually you'll see it level out and start to carry on. You can usually tell at any point where users have been added. The next thing you're going to see is this knowledge graph here, which is they're indicating the top 6 skills on the platform. So no filter again, just the top 6 skills that are being that have been most widely scored on and are highest proficiencies in those areas. And you see a leaderboard, which again, this is reflective on the average or on the actual skill profile scores for the individuals. So the same thing that I showed you on the member dashboard, that score is what's filtering into here. So you're able to see that from the management perspective, and everyone's scores there. Where this becomes extremely effective and what generates the most excitement from me and from our potential customers is when you actually are working within a specific platform and you want to see what your readiness is, measure how well you're doing along the way, and you can come up here and actually click on, we'll do AWS for example, and filter this out. So what this does now is it's filtering out all the AWS. It's still got the same date, and it's for our entire organization. So you can see the skill profile score for AWS overall has increased at the same time the users have been on the platform too. Now, my knowledge graph is showing my top 6 domains within AWS where we're most proficient, and my leaderboard adjusts. So now this is just showing not the overall skill profile score that we have shown on the dashboard, but the skill profile score strictly specific to AWS and all the components and domains that go along with that. So you're able to see who's most proficient from a user standpoint on AWS, and then over here as an organization, you're looking at the average scores. So you're seeing your top areas of proficiency, but you're also able to kind of judge and look at your areas of opportunity. This is really important for you when you're actually looking on evaluating additional training plans for your organization, shoring up different areas that you might be lacking in, but also another area where this becomes extremely effective and what our customers are seeing, if you have a project relative to a specific domain. So let's just say you're working specifically within security for AWS and you're going to have a big project coming up there. You could click that domain. Now it adjusts and shows me the services under AWS. It shows me the top 6 skills or services that we're most proficient in within the security domain. All my graph here shows the skill profile uptick over time, but now I can see my top performers specific to this domain. So now if I wanted to put together a project of 4 or 5 people to help put some things together, I could come in here and really have a good, make a good assumption on who's most proficient, who's most well aligned with our organizational goals when it comes to security in AWS, and who I could put on a potential project to help me lead that initiative forward. So this is another tangible benefit in a way that you can use skill profiles. I do want to show you, when I talk about comparing teams. So I'm gonna pick a couple of different teams here to compare. I know that, in typical fashion, you may not be comparing developers and engineers for purposes of a demo. I want you to see what this looks like. So if I had a couple of groups on the platform that I thought were well aligned, their skill sets were relatively close, and I wanted to actually take a look at that, a measurement of that through skill profiles to see that over time, what this would show me. I've got the security engineers up here in yellow, the cloud developers up here in blue. We have this happening in organizations as a real example where they've created different groups and they may have level 1s, level 2s, and level 3s, and they want to compare these level 1s to level 2s after a certain period of time on the platform so they can see that level of advancement over time and consumption, over time of consumption on the platform and the measurement of the quizzes and exams into their skill profile. So they're actually able to see that. What this would tell me if we're just looking at AWS is that we still have a little bit of work to do to get the security engineers up on the same the same level as the cloud developers. And again, it's more of an extreme example, but there's no experience for, as you might imagine, with developers having, using GCP very highly touted by developers, not so much for our security engineers. We'd have to get some additional training and things like that to actually shore them up on that. So again, another way that you can go through and use this tool to help you be able to see exactly where everyone is at from a team, from an overall perspective, and make sure that you're really hitting on all the areas that you want to focus on. If you wanted to look at individuals, so the same way that you saw looking at the profile, the individual can look at the profile, you can get that same view for individuals as well and be able to look at them and their proficiency on any of the platforms and the subsequent domains that result from that. All right, so that is the gist of what I wanted to show you on skill profiles. I hope that you can see the value in a tool like this. I know that our current customers are. I know some of you may have had this pop up now. It's a new tool that's currently available to you in subscription. Another exciting thing of working with Cloud Academy as we rolled out these products for people that are existing customers and they're getting access to new things and new improvements. So we're excited to work with you. If you have questions on this specific using this profile in a live environment and in your own organization and helping you understand how to use it better, we encourage you to reach out to us. You can reach out to your sales rep. You can reach out to your customer success team. I myself would be happy to work with you as well, and oftentimes I get to do that, which is a really exciting part of my job. So again, we would love to hear from you on that. What I'll do now is pop back over to the slide deck, and we will turn it over to Francesca to start us off with the Q&A.
Thank you, Mark. So we have a little bit of time to go over some questions, and I know Albert has been monitoring the chat. So over to you, Albert.
Yeah, so one of the first questions we have is, what are the specific permissions for skill profiles and analytics?
Great question. Albert and I work very closely on a lot of these products, so he could answer these himself. I'm sure he'll add in any color to this. That feel free to do that as you would like, Albert. That's the great question, and really the way skill profiles and analytics. I think Albert spoke to this. He spoke really well to it about the difference, but they're visible to the actual administrators and the managers. So when we're talking about the permissions, we're talking about the people that actually can see this. So from a holistic standpoint and being able to look in the skill profile organization, that manager view, your admins and your general managers will be able to see that. The team managers, when you're setting up your teams, they may not hold an administrator account, but team managers will actually be able to see the skill profiles and analytics for just those teams that they're managing. Regular members, individuals, they're only going to be able to see their skill profiles for their own account. They won't be able to see that for the entire organization.
All right, good answer, awesome. We had another really interesting question from a member of the audience for a product that we just recently launched. He asked, how do assessment cycles tie back to skill profiles and analytics? And so let's talk a little bit about assessment cycles too in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So these assessment cycles, you saw a little bit of that when we were going through how to improve your score. So it made some recommendations for quizzes. Those are assessments, but we've actually tied in assessments, overall skill assessments, when it comes to the different platforms. Those assessments, as you actually complete those, are going to update your skill profile either as you're doing it as an onboarding. So we have customers when they're onboarding are actually rolling out skill assessments to kind of baseline where their organization is or different teams. So you may have, you may be working with AWS and Azure. We have skill assessments for both of those, or maybe you're a consulting firm and you're working with all three of the major cloud platforms. We have skill assessments for all of those. We're adding more as we speak. So areas like DevOps, serverless, things like that, you'll be able to assess those as well. But those are going to actually populate your skill profile, create a baseline score. The great thing about those assessments, you can roll those out, and what, you send an assessment out to someone and they automatically feel like they're being judged or graded or things like that. You want to send those out, and where our organizations have had the most success, sending those out with the the guidance that this is literally just for us to baseline where we're at so we can make some training going forward. So the goal with the assessments is not to answer questions and take a guess that you don't have any idea. You want to skip those over so you can create a true baseline. And the added benefit is after you've gone through a couple of training cycles, go back and take it again and see how much you've learned. And to the second part of that, the analytics. So the analytics won't have anything to do with skill assessments. Analytics are just going to populate as the users are on the platform consuming content. Again, it's going to measure the effort based on consumption.
All right, awesome. And then we have another question here that asks specifically about Content Engine. And so they're asking, how do I connect skill profiles to customized learning within Content Engine to ensure that skill profiles are filled?
That's an awesome question. So Content Engine is, we did a webinar on that a couple months back, just a small part of it. And the capabilities with Content Engine are so vast. I look forward to doing another webinar on that at some point as well, especially with Albert. Albert and I are working on this so much together. But really with skill profiles and Content Engine tying that together, any resource, any custom resource that you add in there, you can tie an actual skill profile to that. And what that means is you can actually use these tags for different platforms, the domains, the different services. If you're creating your own quizzes and exams, you can tie those to specific tags, whether it is the platform, domain, services, or a business productivity tag or something like that. That progress, when they're going through those quizzes and exams, will automatically populate. When you looked at the knowledge graph, it would populate that relative part of the skill profile, so you can see where they're measuring when it comes to those areas that you're tagging on those custom questions and exams.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we don't have any other questions, I think, on this side. We asked a couple. So any other thoughts?
Listen, again, I'm really sorry, Francesca. I hope it comes through in talking about this. I enjoy sharing this with our customers. We go through a lot of these demos every day with our customers. I'm sure some of you may have gone through a demo with me, hopefully, before. If you are new, we'd love to walk you through more of the platform, take some time to go through all the individual products with you that compromise the entire, holistic solution. But the excitement is genuine. I think skill profiles are something that over the last 6 years, like I've said, being able to ascertain and measure how people are coming out of, going and passing an exam is one way, but being able to add these lab assessments that we're adding, this stuff is just next level. So really excited about the work that our engineering team is doing, putting these products together. We are really focused on continuing to improve on these products, little small minuscule things that may not seem like they make a big difference. They do, and they're actively working on this stuff. So we're going to have a lot of things coming out. Really excited to share this particular product with you, and encourage you to reach out. We've got some contact information as well. But again, thanks for your time, Francesca and Albert. And I know, Francesca, I'll turn it back over to you to close us out.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I just wanted to pick up on something that you mentioned before, that we did some other webinars on our platform. One was on Content Engine, another one was on training plans. So if you want to learn more, you can head to our website on the webinar section and watch them there. So if you're curious, you'll find all of the recordings on our website. So thank you all for joining us today. If you're ready to take a data-driven approach to drive digital transformation in your company, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Should you have any further questions, please shoot a tweet over to either Mark or Albert, and they will be happy to assist you. Final reminder on the webinar recording, we will send it to you as soon as it's available. And of course, we have more webinars coming up, so keep an eye on your inbox. And of course, if by any chance next week you'll be in Orlando for the Microsoft Ignite event, come say hi and meet our team at booth 1945. All right, thank you all, and until next time, goodbye.